Hey everybody, Jeff Feedy here with the Kung Fu Driving Podcast. Excited to welcome several amazing people here to the show to talk about an amazing piece of martial arts fare for your enjoyment. We're talking about Shadowfish 3, and I have with me the amazing cast and crew. We have Angel Brophy right there,
What
Robert
up, guys?
Jefferson, Bobby Samuels,
You.
Ron Hall, and we are expecting one more person to come by. So we were just going to give her a little bit of time to gather herself and join us. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the show to talk about this amazing piece of martial arts awesomeness.
Thanks for having us, man. Greatly appreciated.
Awesome. So all right, let me do this really quickly because there's something that I wanted to relay regarding Shadowfish 3. And I'm not sure how many people will recognize it, but I'm going to play it and I'll gauge the reaction once I play it. Because for everybody who grew up in my era, I was born in 71. So, you know, the late 70s, early 80s was important for me for... yeah,
71?
71, really? Yes. I'm
what?
71. Thank you.
Do you sleep in the Tupperware? Stealing the freshness?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. But all right, let me do this. But like I said, late 70s, early 80s, Saturday afternoon Kung Fu Theater was a big deal. So let's see who remembers this. There you go. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah. I remember it.
So yeah, that was like a siren call for anybody in my generation. You know, Saturday afternoon or so, about 3 o'clock. When that came on, you came running in from outside to get your weekly dose of kung fu, and that was like home. You know, that was home for me. And I remember being kind of angry when Abbott and Costello came on. Not that I didn't like Abbott and Costello, I did, but I wanted my kung fu fixed. No, exactly. But
I think in different cities it was called different things. In New York it was called Black Belt Theater.
Right.
Yeah, and Philadelphia the same. So on this side of town it was Kung Fu Theater for Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because watching Shadowfish from the beginning felt like being back home. It felt like being back in that kung fu film vibe, that kung fu drive-in vibe. So, and I know that there was an intent there to bring us back to those times. So, Robert, talk to me about what was the inspiration behind bringing Shadowfish to life.
Well, initially, Bobby and I wanted to do, because we've been doing like a lot of roundabout martial arts style shorts. And then Bobby one day was like, I really want to do like an old school scene. And we started talking about different things we could do. So we did like a 6-minute short about 3 years ago, just to see what it would, you know, more for fun than anything. And everybody was like, no, that was too short. We need more. So we did Shadowfish 2, which introduced the whole idea of the scroll, and everybody really liked that. And so then they were like, okay, you know, people were writing to us like, you know, is there going to be a sequel? So we were like, oh, okay. And we were like, now we got to try and top Shadowfish 2, which we didn't know how we were going to do. And with the help of Ron and Angel and Roxy and all the people that jumped on board, I think we managed to put together something special. And the idea was exactly what you're saying, which is why I'm smiling so big. It's like to really give you that feeling of how we felt back in those days on a Saturday afternoon, waiting for Kung Fu Theater to come on, or drive-in theater, or black belt theater, whatever you want to call it. That was the vibe. So that it came across as everything. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Bobby, what about you? You know, you were part of that whole scene with the 80s Kung Fu Theater and putting those things together. When you got together with Robert to put this together, what was the thinking? Were you? I mean, obviously you were excited to be part of it and to bring it to life, but what was your thought into putting that Kung Fu vibe into everything?
So as everyone stated, we grew up in these films, and these type of films have always been very special to me as far as the entry for me to get into martial arts films. But as time went on, martial arts cinema evolved, and the wire work and sword play, and then films were done in Hong Kong, and then gradually they started moving to China, and how now we have a whole nother nexus of how Kung Fu movies are viewed today. But I just wanted something where Robert and I thought about it, and I said, if we're going to do this, we have to do it in a nostalgic way, but also put our own spin on it. Of course, I could have went with the wire works and the high flying gags and things of that nature, but I wanted to keep it pure. One of my favorite directors from that era was Lau Ka Leong, and I speak with Mark Hawden all the time, and he is the heir to Lau Ka Leong's Kung Fu lineage. And he said one time, he said, "You guys should just keep moving forward. You guys are the future." And I told him, I said, "Well, look, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to do it in the vein of how Sigong would have done it, Lau Ka Leong." And that was my inspiration for Shadow Fist. But again, 1, 2, and 3 are just completely different. But it gave us an opportunity to kind of create our own world. One individual director and action director who's one of my favorite right now, my Daigao, and that's Andy Cheng. And when he did Into the Badlands, that was a profound effect upon. I said, "Wow, this is different for American television to actually embrace it like full on like that. Get the actors in training for 6 and 7 months in order to make sure that the actors could do the action." So he was a big motivation behind this as well for me to pursue this type of film. Again, I just hope that everyone likes it, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with the world next month.
Yeah, it's great that you bring up Into the Badlands. That definitely did add a whole new wrinkle to action and martial arts for Western audiences. Ron, as another veteran of Kung Fu films and martial arts entertainment, what brought you to this project and what made you want to be part of it?
Well, me and Bobby have had a very long relationship, probably about 30 years. We met in Hong Kong, and we formed an instant brotherhood. Two black guys from America find themselves in Hong Kong doing martial art movies. So that was an instant connection. We've kept a relationship for 30 years. We've tried to work together several times. And this project came along, and when Bobby told me about it, it was just the right project to do. And I hadn't done a film in a while. I wanted to reintroduce myself to audiences because I know people haven't seen me in a while and wonder, can this guy still do the type of stuff he was doing? And I hope that watching this film will dispel any of those notions that I can.
I want to just break in real quickly here and welcome ROXALINDA VAZQUEZ to the show. Roxy, welcome.
Welcome, Roxy.
Hey.
Hello.
Perdón por la tardanza. Tuve algunos problemas.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had some trouble.
No, it's okay.
No worries.
Muy emocionada.
Now I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Very excited, and thank you very much.
Yes. And Ron,
Awesome.
going back to what Ron was saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Those were some, again, we met in Hong Kong. Ron came by my apartment at one point, and we were like training and everything. And one of my movies was actually premiering in Hong Kong one of those nights. And Ron accompanied me to the theater to see Mo Min Bay, the film I did with Samo. And during the scene where there was a scene in there that had some racial issues, I kind of felt bad. And Ron, he sat beside me, and I'll never forget, he said, "You hold your head up high." He said, "Your performance was brilliant, and you should be proud of yourself." And he said he was proud of me. And from that point forward, it kind of like we have this brother relationship. And he stood by me at a point when I was really feeling bad about certain things, and he brought out the good qualities. And so since then, I've always searched for the right project for us to work together on, but hadn't materialized. But for Shadow Fist, I remember our Urban Action Showcase last year where Jugando con Fuego and Shadow Fist 2 premiered. Ron actually came, and he loved the films. And at that point, I said, you know what? I wonder if I should ask him or not, you know, but I did. He was willing to join the cast. So
That's fantastic. Angel, let me go to you and talk about your involvement in this project, action director, producer. When you were getting involved with this, knowing that it was going to be that martial arts epic, were you jazzed? Were you intimidated? What was your initial reaction to everything?
Well, I was very excited because I've been now working, I think maybe this is our third year working together with
yes,
Mr. Samuels and Jeff. So every time that I work with them, I just feel at home. They just very easygoing. They like to bounce off ideas. They like to get the people who are behind the camera like really involved in the creative process of whatever project that we're doing. So I always feel at home working with them. And once he mentioned that he was going to do like this martial arts kung fu epic, I was both intimidated and excited because because I've never really leaned into the kung fu style of action because I'm more of an '80s kid, so or late '80s kid. So I grew up a lot with a lot of Jackie Chan movies, but like more like Crime Story and Super Cop and like the more modern stuff. And like the only influence of like old type of kung fu movies that I had was Bruce Lee, and he was already kind of like ushering in a new era of how to do action in at that time. So you could say that my first kind of like gateway to like the old Shaw Brothers type action was actually the Matrix movies when the first Matrix came out. So I was like probably like 10 years old, 12 years old when that came out. So that was kind of like my gateway. And then I started to delve into a couple more other movies, and I found another movie called Iron Monkey with Donnie Yen and
Donnie Yen, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of like also spiked my interest, but I never kind of like lean into that. The action that I usually do is a little bit more tactical based or MMA based and stuff. So I was really excited to tackle this because I've always wanted to kind of delve a little bit on that side of filming action and doing action. So thankfully, I had a good mentor, which is Mr. Samuels. He was basically just letting me know if I was on the right track each time I sent him like videos of what we were doing and what was the style that we were looking for, and wherever he saw maybe something that could be bettered, he delved in and helped me out. So it was a fun process, and not only that, but we have like really good performers too. I mean, the action is not going to sell if you don't have like the right people doing the moves as well. So I mean, Ron, Roxy, Miguel Peralta, who plays Roxy's sister is a brother. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Brother, and also Omar Rios, who plays Iron Leg in the movie. So these guys are just top notch, and they're very easy to work with. And so whatever style you put them in, they really excel. So yeah, it was exciting, and I'm really happy with what we did.
And you should be. It's great stuff. Speaking of those actors with those skills, let me go to Roxy here. And for everybody that's listening, Angel is going to be kind enough to do translations for me. So, Roxy, can you tell me, first of all, welcome. So great to have you. But can you tell me who were your influences growing up as martial artists, and then as maybe martial arts actors?
Sí, para empezar, bienvenida y muchas gracias por estar aquí. Y pues la pregunta es básicamente quiénes fueron tus actores o artes marcialistas que te inspiraron cuando estabas más chica o más pequeña.
Bueno, primero que nada, muchas gracias de nuevo. Para mí es un honor poder estar compartiendo y que por fin muchos de nuestros seguidores puedan escucharme y pueda pues platicar con ellos acerca de toda esta experiencia, de todo lo que hemos hecho. Y para mí, bueno, siempre desde niña, Bruce Lee siempre fue el primero que yo conocí y hasta la fecha, digo, no tuve, o muchos no tuvimos esa fortuna de poder verlo o conocerlo en estos tiempos en vida, pero él es pues quien me ha inspirado la mayor parte del tiempo, tanto en la actuación, tanto también en mi entrenamiento, para mí es una gran motivación.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure working with these fantastic people. And well, the only one that comes to mind for me is Bruce Lee, who inspired me, and not only in the acting part, but also in the training area. I've always been inspired by him and his story and what He's done.
That's awesome. And I do bring that up because, and I'll address this to the whole crowd, but it's going to be pointed to Roxy in particular, because a lot of great martial arts actors out there, a handful of great female martial arts actors out there. But when it comes to Latina female martial artists, what do we got? I mean, what is your take on that as a group, and then I'll go to Roxy. So Angel, if you could set that up for her, but you guys talk to me about that, because that is a huge case for representation that you guys allowed Roxy to do here for this film.
So I'll start off. For me, I realized over the years, as I've been filming in Tijuana and Rosarita, Ensenada, I've also gone to Guadalajara, where Roxy is from. I realized that the action audience is underserved with individuals that look like them. Like we have an African American action female star, my sister Gillian White, Michael's wife. My sister Amy Johnson is doing quite well as well, but there really isn't any Latina. Having done 3 or 4 films now with Roxy and just seeing the screen charisma that she exudes, I knew that she had a bright future and she could lead that charge. We did several films, Contacto Finale, episode zero, I think we did. And El Hombre de Tijuana was another one we did. And then recently Blackout, of which we won Best Independent Film recently for.
Jugando con Fuego.
New York City.
Jugando con Fuego, yeah.
She turned in a brilliant performance in that film. While we were filming Blackout, Jeff and I were discussing what, the next venture, which was Shadow Fist. And I saw actually Roxy and Mikey doing Kung Fu. And they've studied for many years together, and I could see the charisma between the two of them. And I said, wow, there's something here. And then Jeff said, I got it. And so hence we came up with the brother and sister aspect of our story baseline for Shadow Fist, which is common amongst most Shaw Brother films and the older style films, the brother and sister type of vibe. So it fit perfectly. And again, she just exudes such charisma on screen. Her battle with Ron Hall was amazing. And there's so many gems inside of Shadow Fist where she just shines, not only martial art wise, but just really on point acting wise. Probably one of the best Latin actresses that I've ever worked with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually pretty apt. And to be honest, and more to the point, this all was kind of like a happy accident. We wound up traveling down there with Lomong years ago, and we met all these fine folk. And one thing that Bobby and I share from different backgrounds. I went to NYU, he went to Hong Kong, and both experiences basically taught us to lean into a happy accident. If you have a great sunset and your camera's facing away from it, we turn the camera around, we face the sunset. We get the beauty in the shot. So as we started to discover, like, wow, these folks down here are really interested in kung fu films, kung fu filmmaking, and they have talent. And the more that we spent time with them and we kept going back, we started realizing certain people really had a knack and had a gift for it. Roxy especially stood out. Mikey stood out. Some other folks stood out. And as we went along, we met Angel, we met Omar, we met some of these other fine folks, and it wasn't so much of a thing as like we're going to make the next Latina action star. She sort of rose to the occasion, and we rose up to meet her and include her in what we had intended to do. And as Bobby said, after Shadow Fist 2, we were like, how can we make 3 special? And we kind of just volleyed this idea back and forth. He was like, I want to do something with Mikey and Roxy because they just got something. And that's one thing that Bobby has an eye for, is like, if he says somebody's going to be a good character, I've learned to, like, I don't even question anymore. I'm just like, oh, okay, we'll write that in and figure it out. And I said, I got it, brother and sister. He was like, yes. And then from there, we just it was like a tennis match back and forth until we kind of had this shell of a story. Angel came in and was like, hey, what if we, and I was like, yup, we're doing that. Whatever Angel just said, we're putting that in. We're scratching this out of the script. And then Roxy and Mikey just really took what we put together and just, I mean, you've seen the film. Like,
oh yeah.
I was surprised. I'm watching the scene and I'm rereading the script like, did I write that like that? It's just so good. And it just came together. So yeah, like Roxy has the chops to be that person that doesn't exist yet. There is no real Latina action star, but I think it should and could and will be Roxy.
Yeah, that's Roxy. Let me ask you then. As a Latina martial artist and now a Latina martial arts actress, are you aware of what you could bring to the martial arts film tapestry, being a Latina martial artist?
Sí, Roxy, pues tú siendo una latina arte marcialista y ahora actriz arte marcialista, sí estás como consciente de lo que tú puedes traer al tapiz de lo que es el cine de artes marciales como latinoamericana.
Sí, pues siento que es como una responsabilidad muy grande. Sinceramente, no puedo creer hasta el momento toda la respuesta que hemos tenido, todo el reconocimiento que nos ha dado la gente, todo el apoyo que me dan, que todo lo que me dicen y que no me la creo, que está el talento y pues eso es prácticamente lo que me motiva. A estas alturas para mí sigue siendo pues algo que me sigue sorprendiendo, de lo cual sigo aprendiendo y pues claro que me encantaría seguir en esta industria, seguir aprendiendo y creciendo y así mismo influenciar a otras mujeres que vean que también nosotras podemos, las latinas podemos, porque pues no conozco, hasta el momento no conozco a otras actrices que hagan acción y apenas que me estoy incursionando en este camino, en este nuevo mundo, pues es cuando conozco ya un poquito más. Digo, ya conozco a otras chicas ahora que estuvimos trabajando con todo el equipo acá en Tijuana, pero en sí espero seguir teniendo más proyectos, seguir aprendiendo y motivar a más chicas, invitarlas y que vean que pues el camino de las artes marciales, pues sí, es una gran disciplina, es un estilo de vida, pero también pueden ver esa opción, ¿no? Verlo como una profesión, en este caso en el cine. Esperemos que ahora en México, digo, ese sería un propósito, por ejemplo, el que nosotros sigamos promocionando, el que sigamos trabajando juntos y que nos sigan conociendo y más chicas, porque hay muchas chicas mexicanas con muchísimo talento que yo las veo en pantalla grande. Y sí, es una gran responsabilidad y me encanta y estoy muy agradecida.
All right, that's a lot, so I'm going to try and do my best. So, yes, I know it's a big responsibility, and I'm very excited for it. The response from the people has been awesome. They want to keep seeing us, keep us there. The compliments that I've been receiving of the work that we've been doing is so incredible, and I just want to inspire more women and Latin American women, Mexican women to delve more into martial arts and just inspire them more. And hopefully, I'll be able to work in more projects in this industry for longer, and just inspire people to, especially women, Latin women, that we can do this. We can do this type of action and this type of work, and just have fun with it. But yeah, it's a big responsibility, and I'm very, very excited for it.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Ron, let me ask you, because you tangled with Roxy there. The martial arts aspect of it, how important was it to get that right for this film?
Well, I think the action has to support the story, the setting, the aesthetic, and Bobby's vision is authentic. I mean, Bobby speaks Cantonese. You know, Bobby grew up watching martial art movies, and he put all those sensibilities together to make the action soar, make the scene soar, the visual soar. So it's not just about one element, meaning that if you watch this film, you will get something that resembles a Shaw Brother film, but it's not. It's something uniquely its own, and it's Bobby's. And, I have to commend him for doing that. And I think that the whole world has been introduced to martial art movies through Asian filmmakers. But now, as time has gone on, the whole entire world are engaged in the making of martial art movies, and people want to see their own heroes, their own culture, the stories told through their lens and their perspective. And I believe that filmmakers like Bobby, Angel, Robert, and myself, along with all the other members of the crew, I think that we're all reaching for that kind of place where we can express our cultural sensitivities through martial art action films. And also at the same time, I recently had a Chinese guy said to me, well, Ron, isn't that kind of like cultural appropriation? And I said to him, this is a form of tribute and honor, because these guys were my heroes. And this is the best way in my limited capacity that I could pay homage to all of these people who've influenced me and added so much to my life and my character, to give what they gave to me and put that back out into the world. So it's a win-win all the way around.
That's awesome. Let me take a break here and show the trailer so that Angel can take a break from translating too. All right, hang tight, everybody. Let's take a look at the Shadowfish 3 trailer right here.
In the 3rd century AD, a little-known sect of ascetic monks tapped into a potentially limitless power. They sealed these techniques behind a scroll of holy ruins.
Hace más de 30 años que no se ha visto el pergamino inmortal.
¿Qué vieron en el pergamino?
Inmortalidad. Poder infinito. Fuerza. Tranquilo. Ten paciencia, hermano.
Awesome. Now, just looking at that though, is there any part of you, of all you guys, that it's kind of sad to say goodbye to the Shadowfish universe?
Well, never say never, I guess.
Never say never, right? For me, I remember when I approached Roxy to do this film. And I said, I know you saw Ip Man, but I don't want you to be Donnie Yen. I want you to be Roxy, but I want you to be Donnie-ish. So she read right into it and knew exactly how to make those adjustments in order for her to stand out and not just be a bite. I tell you, the biggest challenge for me for both Shadow Fist 2 and 3 was I felt as though how would the audience respond when they see African Americans in like kung fu clothes, and then how would they respond when we have Latinas and Hispanic people in kung fu clothes? I always thought that the clothes aspect would be a problem as to being acceptable because most of the clothing is Chinese garb. But my job, Jefferson's job, was an Angel's job because he was just as much instrumental in helping us formulate this story to what you see on screen, was to create a world where people can live vicariously through and would not think about the cosmetics of what the characters were wearing. That was very important. I was certain that if the film didn't have its acting moments, and again, I didn't want it to be just something that, how can I say it? Just a routine bunch of fight scenes. That's it. I needed this particular one to have certain emotional elements. I needed the story to drive it and the action to be the anchor. Whereas the other versions, we were heavy on action and we didn't really delve too much into the backdrop of the story for the scroll. But I did say to Jefferson, I said, this time around, we really need to concentrate on the story aspect and the acting, you know. And Roxy went into training and rehearsal for about 6 months prior to the character. I remember when and shout out to James Santi and Jason Santi, our Mexico producers. They were very instrumental in everything we do down there, making sure that we have everything we need in order to pull off these visions that we do. So I really want to thank them. I mean, without them, this could not have been possible. Giselle as well, his wife, they all treat us very kindly. But yeah, that's just from my perspective. Roxy read into the character and she really went Scorsese on it. That's all I can say.
Well, and further to your point, and to sort of more directly get to the question. Not like as Angel said, never say never. And it's after we did the first one, it was sort of a thing where it was like, okay, we need to expand this universe and make it into something that could be, you know, carried on for, you know, indefinitely if we wanted to. And I've always been a thing for like, I like MacGuffins. And so I came up with this idea for the scroll. And shout out to Johanna Ocasio, my lady created this this scroll, the physical artifact that you see on screen. She made by hand, and once I saw it, it kind of like brought me into this whole story concept of like it could be anywhere at any time for any type of a person. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't depend so much on a character. It can continue to pass hands. This iteration of Shadow Fist is like, we don't want to necessarily only do kung fu movies for the rest of our lives. We like to do all kinds of storytelling, as you'll see on the side of Bobby's screen there. We have Blackout out now as well. It's a different type of storytelling. That's also people are looking. So we like to do different things. If there's a budget, if the crowd demands it, and you want to see more Shapes Kung Fu from us, well, I guess we would have to accommodate everyone in that way. But you know, it can live on through the scroll. It can pass hands to another person. It could go into another era. We could go forward. We could go backwards, and that sort of was the idea with the whole nature of the scroll. And going into this one, we thought that along with there being an emotional element with the brother-sister story, that you guys deserve to see a little bit more about the backstory of how the scroll came to be, what it was about, and what really the meaning of why is everybody after it. So that was
I can't stress enough.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I can't stress enough that it's every component of his vision that makes everything work, meaning that If the visuals wasn't there to support the action, that would falter. If the costumes weren't there to support the characters, that would falter. So the complete package of having a story, the characters, the look and aesthetic of the film, and the action and the type of action, all of that works together to make it a nice, a nice experience for martial art viewers or anybody watching martial art action films.
And I tell you, since we did it, every time now I speak to people and they're like, hey, if you talk to Ron, is he going to do another one? He's going to do another one? I say, yeah, we're working on something, And then they always ask me, well, what about Roxy? Can you bring her here? Can she do this, But Roxy was very fortunate. First of all, Roxy's husband and myself are very good friends, Salvador Rodriguez. Shout out to him. Thank you so much for trusting us. And we made sure we didn't actually hurt your wife. But, he supports our vision. He supports his wife. He knows the talent that she possesses. He's joined us on several films. He was in Ugando con Fuego with us, but he wasn't able to join us this time around. But with his blessings and his guidance, we were able to pull it off. And we just thank everyone associated with the film. Angel, B-Squad Acción, James Santi, everyone. Jason Santi, you name it. Jay Hernandez, everyone. Thank you.
Also, Thierry Cassell, our executive producer.
Yeah.
Cannot forget him.
This would not have happened if it was not for Thierry Cassell and Vincent Cornelius Pittman. Those were our U.S.-based producers for this. Without their help, it wouldn't have happened. And I mean, it really wouldn't have happened because we were down to the wire. And of course, Oso always supports us. And then right there, he took care of what needed to be done for us to pull this off.
Absolutely.
Sounds cool.
Did we lose Jeff?
I have no idea. I saw him.
Guess what? I'm going to take over hosting duties.
Yeah.
Until he returns. So, Angel.
Jefferson,
yes, sir.
Jefferson, for yourself, I could do kung fu movies forever, so I'm good.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, let me say something. Let me say this while we have this moment. So, for me, I've been doing this for many years. I'm probably in my 30th year with my career in Hong Kong and the films that I've done here in the U.S. And I know some people question, well, why is he always doing short films? And, I do both, I just finished a film with Keith David and Bruce Davison, a horror film. I try to mix it up with genre-wise. Shout out to Warrington Hutland and Mike Sargent for giving me that opportunity. But again, sometimes when you go to investors, they don't really, how can I say? It's very difficult sometimes for African-American Black directors to actually get the funding that they need to pull certain things off. So I adjust these projects for whatever funding that I have. If I get smaller budgets, then we'll concise the story to reach that. But the basically thing is we will not quit. Number one, we will always push forward. We will always do films, not just action films. We're in talks right now to do several films. We're looking at several remakes. We'll discuss in a few. So yeah, things are looking good. And Angel?
Yes, sir.
And
I'll piggyback on you, Bobby, in terms of the economics. That's probably the critical factor, is having the money to put the vision to the screen that you want without the constraints that it has to be something else. A lot of times when I've approached people about martial art movies, they say, can it be something other than this thing? It's a good idea, but can it star other than African-American people? So I think if anyone who's watching wants this to continue or wants it to expand, just follow our works and support our efforts, and you'll see more content like this. It all boils down to the money.
Yeah,
you really point out one of the greater strengths of doing the indie thing, which is we can do what we want to do. We decided to do, Shadow Fist 1 and 2, with the knowledge that, with the idea that, it is a little unusual to see Black people in period costumes running around the forest doing kung fu, but we also have a strong belief that if it's done well, then you stop thinking about who's in the costume and who's in front of the camera and get into the mythos and the lore of it. Now, you know, Bobby comes from that Hong Kong background. My tastes are a little bit more esoteric. I'm into like anime and other things like that where you do mix characters and styles. So to me, it never really seemed to make any difference whether or not there were black people, white people, just people in front of a camera is what we needed. The right talent. It just happened to be the people that it happened to be. You know what I mean? Like, and it comes across on the screen, and people seem to appreciate it. I didn't really think about what we were doing in terms of that until I actually sat back and watched Shadow Fist 2, and I was like, it's mostly black people running around the forest doing shapes, and it's kind of unusual. But then again, you have anime like Afro Samurai, and you have Blue Art Samurai, and
that's weird to hear for me because I grew up in, like, my childhood was most of the 90s, so I grew up watching Power Rangers, and for me, Power Rangers brought like a multicultural aspect to martial arts. I mean, it wasn't just Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee who did martial arts. It was your white kid, your black kid, your Latino kid, so I think I was blessed in that aspect because I was growing up with media that showed a very multicultural palette. It wasn't just limited to one culture. It was shared through a kids show where you battled monsters from in the city or whatever, right? In the forest. But once they took off those costumes, they were just people who casually were from different cultures. So it's weird sometimes for me to kind of like delve into that cultural lens because I never saw it, or I never grew up with that cultural lens, because most of what I saw was multicultural. I mean, I grew up watching from Jackie Chan movies to Wesley Snipes movies, and I even got a chance to see some Shaft movies because my dad was crazy, but I was like a kid watching Shaft movies. I don't think that was a good thing to do as a parent, but okay. And I don't know, it's weird for me sometimes like talking about the cultural aspect of it, but we're proof that it happens, and then we have like the want to have that multicultural entertainment, and not only that, but to one of the things, kind of like continuing a little bit of what this Mr. Samuels was saying about worrying about the outfits and stuff like that. I didn't see a problem with it because at the end of the day, we all spoke our own language, like like Roxy and Mike being Latino, they spoke Spanish, and Ron being from the US, he spoke English. So we already approached the material, even though it's like in a fantastical world, with a more multicultural like perception. I mean, why would they be speaking English or Chinese or whatever other language you could think of because of the aesthetic? But if they're Latin people who speak Spanish, they would speak Spanish. I mean, they wouldn't be speaking any other language. And the same for Ron. I mean, if he's from the US or he grew up in that culture, why would he speak Chinese or whatever other language just because of the aesthetic? And that's where I think we really kind of like opened up a different way of just seeing how you can present this type of stories with a multicultural aspect to it and still make it feel your own, right? Or make it feel unique. So yeah, I think that was important for us.
Let me jump in. First of all, thank you for keeping the conversation going. I apologize for that tech flaw out there.
No worries. Believe me, you leave us, attention grabbing divas alone, and we're just gonna be talking your ear off.
Yeah, let me jump in there though, because I did want to hop on that point, because while you guys were dressed up in the Chinese clothing, at no point credit to all the actors in this, because at no point was I like, well, why are they speaking Spanish? And why do we have black guys in Chinese garb?
Right.
Because I was into the story right away, and again, credit to the actors and for telling that story and for making us not even care that the races were represented. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about language. There was a story that we followed, and I wanted to find out the relationship with the brother and sister and where they were going to go. And then there was the big boss that they had to get to. So being immersed in that was immediately the focus of the story, and that was what carried me through it. So I didn't care that our main characters were speaking Spanish, because Spanish speaking people can do kung fu. Why not?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if I could say something, Jeff, culture is just an expression of humanity from different perspectives. I mean, we're all human, and we are learning as the world becomes a smaller place. People all over the world, we're just learning more about each other. So it's a process of becoming familiar with different cultures, different perspectives, different way of looking at life, different languages, that gets all the people in the world to get a little bit closer. And that's one aspect of martial art movies that I'm interested in promoting, is the expanding of kind of cultural boundaries, so that everyone around the world can just appreciate it for just what it is.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And the martial arts landscape, particularly in cinema, continues to expand and grow. Although it isn't what you guys put on screen here. We don't have that sense of spirituality, that kung fu martial arts sensibility, because it kind of gets buried now in action, and there's it's more gunplay and more stylized action, which is great. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, we all loved the Matrix films, and John Wick is awesome and all that. But the throwback to the Shaw Brothers stuff and the Golden Harvest stuff that you guys put together for Shadow Fist, that's something that I don't know that we're ever going to get back to, because we haven't seen that since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I might be wrong. What do you guys think? Are we ever going to get back some of that Golden Age Kung Fu film stuff on screen? Is that going to translate now for Western audiences again, ever?
So for me, I'll just speak first. For me, Andy Chang's Into the Badland proved that wrong. That's just a given. It was dropped by AMC. However, I think it did 3 or 4 seasons, and it was very well received. And again, I just don't think, I think the audience always loves good action, good visuals, a good story, and they like to live vicariously through the characters. Characters are so important. That's what Samuel taught me years ago. He says, because I asked him, I said, why are your films so good all the time? And he said, well, the number one thing is characters. I pay attention to characters. I like to create characters that the audience can live vicariously through. And so that's always been my mission statement. As you can see, Blackout and Shadow are 2 polarly different films, action-wise, story-wise, yet both have a place in cinema. I was a little worried at first with Blackout because it was off the beaten path for what we do, but it was well received, and for that I thank the audience. And it just goes to show that to have an eclectic style, to have high impact visuals, and just the synergy of actors' performance, I think that's the future. It's hard to pigeonhole what the audience will like. I think I'll tell you one good film which had the formula was the film Michelle Yeoh won for the Oscar for.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah.
Correct. They were smart enough to use YouTube sensation Martial Club, which I always felt was the future. I kept saying to myself, Ron and I work with him years ago. I said, listen, these guys are the future. I guarantee you that. And then look what ended up happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can spot the ones that have that it factor, that screen charisma.
And you know, the piggyback off what Bobby was saying, we that was the whole experiment. That's the whole Shadow Fist experiment in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's why the first short that we did was like only 6 or 7 minutes long, because we didn't know how it would be received. And if we're going by how the martial arts audience and the audience at large has responded to these films, my guess is going to be yeah. I think like Bobby said, if it's well done, if the story is told well, and story is really, story and character are two very central elements to any film. One of my favorite things that's being aired right now is something on Netflix called Blue Eyed Samurai, which is very different.
Gorgeous.
But it's so dope. It's right. You've seen it. It's so dope because it's so off the beaten path. It's so, but it does its own thing in a similar way. Like, it gave me chills because it's kind of what I feel like we're doing. It's taking all of those considerations. Ooh, what if people don't like it? What if people are like, oh, this is weird because it's a bunch of Mexicans running around the desert speaking Spanish and whatnot. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like we wanted to tell a good story. We had good actors. We had excellent martial artists and people who understand filmmaking. And when you have those elements and you're creating art for the sake of art and not trying to guess what's going to be the next blockbuster, just making something that you feel is true to yourself, I don't see how you can go wrong. As our other partner, Reese Tanaka, always says, you know, this type of film is what he calls the essence. It's getting into the woods, getting into that, you know, like you see the bamboo trees and, you know, somebody's got a shape going. Like when it's done well and when it's well acted and the story is engaging, people are gonna show up.
Yeah. And real quick to piggyback on what Jeff is saying, real quick. Reese Tanaka is actually the third member of R4 Films. He kind of plays behind the scenes. He doesn't like to be out in public, but everything we do, his stamp is on in some way. So when we bring it to him, he's the one who would say, "Nah, that stuff is not good," or "That's whack," you know. So he has a temperament for what's hot, what's not, that's whack, that's corny. And we kind of use him as a gauge a lot when we running ideas and visuals and then, you know, for that matter, these posters, he created them, you know.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Roxy, and just like my phone won't stop blowing up about Roxy, you know. Mm-hmm. So everybody's asking me, "What are you doing next with her? What are you doing next?" You know, she has truly grown a fan base here in the United States, and for that I'm very happy for her. You know, my job, I've had my time, I've had my career. I really want to concentrate on directing right now. I'll do the occasional acting, fine, but for me it's directing, and it's offering opportunities to individuals who would not have an opportunity. In this case, Roxy gets to battle a legend, Ron Hall, and the fans are in for a treat.
Sure. And to follow Bobby, you know, everything goes in cycles. You know, people forget there was once a time that Star Wars was completely gone. And somehow Star Wars got resurrected. And now we see all types of where Star Wars literally has become its own genre. So with martial art action films, it's the same way. A well-told story, interesting characters, excellent action. All it has to do is be put together. And I'm sure audiences will embrace it because the template's already been formed. We're not doing anything new. We're just doing something now that's directly connected to what was done before.
Mm-hmm.
Angel, you had something to say that real quickly?
Well, not much. I mean, you guys have here just legends of the subject. My perspective would be is that I think that there's a lot of like very good martial art movies out there, especially coming obviously from Asia, right? From China, from Japan, from Korea, and just as the market just keeps expanding, we as audiences would like to see more of our culture embedded in those type of scenarios, right? Because one of my pet peeves, you could say, is that in Mexico there's no like real action cinema being produced. The closest thing that we have is like the narco movies or narco series and stuff like that. But there's there's something that is not being tapped into in regards to the genre, because it's very limited to like guns and explosions and stuff like that. But like hand-to-hand combat, like being produced over here at a high quality, like they're doing in the U.S. or in China or in Japan or in Korea, even in Europe and in France and England, even in Spain, that they're already starting to produce a lot of really good action movies and series. And here in Mexico, we've been very behind on that genre. So working with Mr. Samuels and Jeff have really like pushed me to kind of like keep digging into the genre more. And I think is that we just want to produce uh action movies or just good stories, but usually with excitement, which usually
Sure.
action brings that to the story, right? So I think the hunger that we have is that we want to see ourselves in those like big situations, and like because one of my theories is that uh, when your culture or your country has a very healthy a very healthy industry, movie industry, you'll find that you produce a lot of genres, and the ones that are most produced to make money or to entertain people, to connect with people, are action movies or epics, like war epics or martial arts movies or action thrillers, etc. And what happens with those narratives most of the time is that you get people like facing super, unthinkable odds, and how they get through those situations through sheer will and skill and ability, right? And to overcome those difficulties. And if your country develops those type of narratives for the screen, you kind of create this weird collective self-esteem, as I like to put it. So that's why, at least from our perspective in Mexico, is that in the US, they you guys see yourselves as the heroes because you're always seeing movies that show yourselves as the heroes. You always saving the planet from a space invasion, or I don't know, stopping the drug cartel, or doing something big that saves the world in some way or form. And that creates like this weird collective self-esteem. And for the countries that lack that type of narrative in their entertainment, I feel that have low self-esteem, like collective self-esteem. And I think Mexico suffers a little bit from that. So, but thanks to Samuels and Jeff, and they trusting me with, with their babies each time they come, just motivates me more to create those tough types of narratives, but now casted, directed, written by Mexicans, for Mexicans, and for the Latin culture as well. So I mean, thank you guys, and I completely get you when you say that that you would like to see more martial arts movies, because you feel connected to that, and you just want to see yourself more in that type of stories.
Yeah. Speaking of recognition, Bobby Samuels, I'm going to hand the floor to you, and I'm going to put something up on screen, and then I'll let you take over.
Okay. So, with this being said, even before the film has been released, you can translate this for Roxy. Anel, you can tell her congratulations. These are all the awards she has won
Felicidades,
as of today.
Roxy. Estas son todas las nominaciones que has ganado hasta la fecha.
Oh, muchas gracias. De verdad, sigo pues sin creer todo el resultado que se ha logrado, que ha sido gracias a todo el equipo, gracias a Bobby, a Jefferson, Ángel, que pues es por ustedes que se ha logrado todo esto, porque yo simplemente escucho, acato órdenes y yo hago lo que me piden. Y pues lo único que hago es kung fu, tiro golpes y me esfuerzo lo más que puedo y lo hago con todo el corazón para todos ustedes. Muchas gracias. Ustedes son los que hicieron posible todo esto. Gracias.
Well, thank you. I mean, I can't believe just the response that we've had to this project, and not only that, but it's just thanks to Samuels and Jeff and the whole crew, because I'm only there and I just do what they tell me to do, and I just fight kung fu and just do my own thing. But they just tell me what to do and I do it. But thanks to the work that we've done collectively, this is I mean, it's amazing the results that we've been getting, and just so exciting. And thank you so much.
All right, clearly she's not just showing up and doing kung fu. Yeah, really.
She does a little more than just what we tell her to. You bring look 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. It couldn't happen without Roxy. It's definitely
Roxy and Ron. I mean, it's a testament to your performances. So
and Mikey.
Congratulations to you all.
All of you, absolutely. You deserve the recognition for again bringing some of this back to the screen for all of us martial arts fans that love to relive those Shaw Brothers Golden Harvest days. But not just that, but putting a strong story out there for us to get to sink our teeth into and follow along. We may not see the Shadow Fist universe again for a little bit, but we'll be able to take some of that with us, and hopefully you'll bring more of that magic to future films that we can get into. And Roxy, and Ron, Angel, Jeff, and Bobby, hopefully there's more collaborations in the future that bring more of this martial arts magic to us all.
Well, if the fans want to see more of this type, we would definitely be honored. The difficult part, again, it's the funding as always,
Sure.
So yeah, what it really takes is for fans to invest in these type of things. You know what I mean? $1. If I have 5,000 fans and each gave me $1, well, I have a $5,000 budget right there to create the magic. But you just have to be willing to, help us move forward. That's it. I think we brought a small clip today to show you guys as well.
We have an exclusive clip, and I'm just looking at the time, and I know I missed a little bit of the conversation, but man, I can't believe that we already blew an hour through this. But I promise to get you guys out of here quickly. But I want to show this clip, so buckle up and take a look at this exclusive clip from Shadow Fist 3, the final chapter.
Impaciente. Escucha. Tienes que aprender a sentir el momento indicado y no hacer las cosas cuando te da tu regalada gana.
¿Y tú qué? Ay, eres bien apretada. ¿O quieres hacer todo a tu forma y como tú quieres? Sifu dice que mi kung fu es más fuerte y cada día va mejorando.
Muéstramelo.
¿Qué?
Muéstramelo.
¿Ya ahorita?
Sí, ahorita. Cállate, siéntate.
Oblígame.
Y escucha lo que te voy a decir.
Oblígame. Ay, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. So good. So good.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So look, folks, this comes out in January. So look forward. We're going to start the year off with a bang. So we greatly appreciate all the support. And thank you for the love and support we have for Blackout too. Thank you so much. Roxy's in that too. Make sure you watch it. Another dynamite performance.
Yeah, so there's the YouTube for R4 Films is scrolling there, but they also have a Vimeo that will be out there. You can catch Blackout as well. Stay tuned for Shadowfish 3, which, as Bobby said, is coming out in January. Let me get some last words from everybody. Ron, let me start with you.
I would just like to say thank you for everybody, the cast and the crew, to invite me to be along part of your journey. I appreciate it. And I look forward to making more films with R4 Films. And, yeah, that's it.
Ron, now tell everybody where they can follow you as well. I know Jet Black Productions. Let us know where we can follow you.
Sure. You can follow me on all social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Ron Hall, or Ron Hall Kung Fu Bro. So you can find me there.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking some time out to chat. Great to speak with you. Looking forward to seeing what else you bring to the whole martial arts landscape. Angel, let me cut over to you.
Well, would like to just say thanks. Thank you for having us here just to talk chop and what we love to do. It's been a ride. It's been an interesting set of 3 years for sure. And just being able to be part of this family that has kind of like formed itself out of like just the will to do something awesome. So I'm really grateful to have met Samuels and Jeff, and just believe me, we're gonna do everything we can to keep working together. I mean, we just like what we do, and we feel very comfortable with each other. So you will see a lot more stuff coming from us as a team, as a unit, as we go on. And with a little bit of an asterisk or parenthesis is that I myself am delving into directing now. So I have a short film that's going to come out next year that I'm really excited for. It's an action thriller called Angie, who's going to be led by a female martial artist known as Renee Ortiz. You might catch a glimpse of her in Blackout. She's the blonde henchman. So you just kind of want to know who she is. She's in Blackout right now, but believe me, once you see her in Angie, you're just are gonna fucking flip out. So, I'm very excited for you guys to see that. Stay tuned. You could follow me at Angel G Brophy Oficial in Instagram and on Facebook, and I'll be posting there. Most likely, the first teaser poster that we have, we're gonna put it out in January. So stay tuned for that, and you guys are gonna be very excited with that project as well.
Awesome. You did some amazing work here. So looking forward to everything that you bring to the screen. And stay tuned right there, because I'm going to need you to translate Roxy. Roxy, let me cut over to you.
I'm not going
to. Roxy, amazing on Shadowfish 3, amazing work on Blackout. I'm so looking forward to everything else that you're going to bring to the screen. But tell us some last words, and then let us know where we can follow you.
Roxy, pues muchas felicidades por los ambos proyectos. La verdad te ves muy bien haciendo lo que haces. Y pues ahora sí, no sé si quieres decir algo, algunas últimas palabras antes de cerrar el programa.
Muchas gracias. Todo este resultado se lo debo a todos ustedes. Y también quiero incluir y darle un agradecimiento enorme a mis maestros, que pues fueron ellos que me han impulsado a hacer cosas nuevas, a mejorar cada proyecto que se presente en mi vida. Sifu Santi, al maestro Jaime Lino en Tijuana, y mi esposo Salvador también, que él es el que está ahí detrás de mí dándome sus mejores consejos. Y pues sobre todo a ustedes, que son con los que pues he crecido más, he aprendido en este medio. Yo espero poder seguir dando golpes, que ustedes puedan seguir disfrutando del trabajo que hacemos. Y pues nada, gracias infinitas. Les deseo lo mejor que gracias por habernos visto, por haberme escuchado, y les envío un enorme abrazo.
All right, let me gather myself. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to all of you, because this project and the results that we've had is thanks to all of you. I want to thank my Sifu Santi, who's been pushing me to get better at all of this, and I just can't say enough thank you, because you've been my mentors throughout this whole process and this medium, and I hope I can keep punching people in the face for you guys as long as we can in other projects. And I just want to say infinite thanks and thank you so much, and a huge hug to all of you.
Thank you.
So looking forward to more of your work, Roxy. Jeff, let me cut over to you.
Oh, first of all, I want to say how much I've loved working with all these guys. Like this has been a labor of love, and every moment that we've been on set, we've met, we've talked, we've planned, has all been just moving in and through love, and I can't wait for the next thing that we all do together. And I want to thank everybody who's here. I want to thank Vince Pittman. I want to thank Oso Tayari Cassell. I want to thank James and Jason Santi. I want to thank Mikey. I want to thank Omar. I want to thank Alex Fuentes. I want to thank everybody who showed up and put on costumes and engaged in this stuff that we just made up. And now it's a real thing. You refer to it as a universe, and before we made it up, it didn't exist. So I'm just kind of in awe of the whole process. And again, I love all y'all guys. Thank you.
Awesome. And I love the work that you guys do. You know, I'm a fan, so I will follow everything that you guys work on, and I'm looking forward to everything else that you're bringing to the screen. Bobby, last word from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you all. Jeff, appreciate you for having us on the show. Roxy, mi hermana, te amo, love you. Angel, my brother, you know what it is. 3 years running, man. We still got more to go. Ron, 30 years, brother. We still gonna keep it rocking. Jefferson, you already know what it is, man. My other half. Shout out to Tanaka, Oso Tiari, Vincent Pittman, James and Jason Santi, Giselle, my niece Daisy. I love you. Thank you so much. But yeah, we will continue. I have an idea of a project for Roxy that Jeff and I have been talking. We have several things that we're discussing for future. We'll make some announcements shortly, but I don't know if anyone saw the movie Long Kiss Goodnight. We'll leave it there.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, guys, you have done some amazing stuff. Looking forward to everything that you guys put together. I'll be there cheering from the seats, and of course, anytime that you guys want to come on the show, you have an open invite. And you know, the next movie where you need a podcast voice, you know, maybe you come knocking, and I'll happily answer.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, man. Greatly appreciate it. And Roxy, we appreciate you. Angel, Ron, thank you all.
Guys, thank you so much.
You.
Again, R4 Films. Check out Angel Brophy's YouTube channel as well. Ron Hall has a YouTube channel. Go visit them, support them. Let's give indie films a chance to shine and give them the spotlight, because they're making the stuff that we want to see. So, guys, thank you again for bringing me back home to the martial arts Kung Fu Drive-In. And guys, keep doing what you do.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care. Goodbye, folks.